An ASPI report promulgated by Western media claims that there are over 380 detention centers to imprison Uyghurs in Xinjiang. But when you closely study ASPI's Xinjiang report, you find that its data, analysis, and conclusions are plain wrong. Tracing some coordinates in the ASPI research, we find ourselves in front of Hotan Detention Center.
Since its completion in 2012, Hotan Detention Center has never been used for vocational education and training. Of course, a detention center is very different from a vocational education and training center. The detention center is for detaining criminals, people who violated the criminal law.
Do you know if any Uyghurs are detained here?
The people in the detention center have nothing to do with the ethnic group. No matter who violates the law, he will be punished. It has nothing to do with whichever ethnic group. Walls and CCTVs are typical of a detention center.
This is simply a detention center, not unlike thousands of such penal institutions you can find anywhere in the world. But ASPI chooses to call it a camp. It's a rebranding exercise straight from the manual of Western media tricks.
Just pointing to a summit building and say, oh, that's a detention camp. Oh, that's where the children are sent and beaten every day. This is nonsense. It really demeans the whole, professionalism of journalism.
On other sites, we find even more problematic conclusions. ASPI seems to love finding walls and towers in cities. So if a school, for example, has any of these fixtures, it's almost certain to go on SP's blacklist of detention centers. We geolocate Maro-Bashi No. 3 primary school through ASP's map, and this is what we find.
I'm a native of Maro-Bashi. I live right next to this school. I have been teaching at this school since 2017. This area was originally a bungalow area for residents.
Some foreign media say that this is the vocational education and training center of Maro-Bashi. Is it true?
No, and it's not possible. This was an elementary school, and it still is.
I can show you hundreds of tech schools around China. They have walls around them. They have barbed wire on top to prevent people from getting in, not from getting out. So going along the street and pointing to a wall with some barbed wire on it, it has absolutely no meaning. You can't come to China thinking China is evil and then walk around trying to justify your opinion.
无论这家所谓的研究所如何卖力表演，都会自取其辱，成为国际社会的笑柄。
ASPI, people like Vicky Xu, try to spread fear about an increasing militarized...
We are not the only ones debunking ASPI's fake claims.
Why has research on Xinjiang produced by ASPI received so much attention in the West? They're funded by the military-industrial complex. They write China threat stories. Then they sell military equipment to governments to counter that China threat that they themselves just finished manufacturing. It's a level of conflict of interest that should be some sort of a performance on a satirical comedy show of some sort, but it's reality, and it's absolutely ridiculous that they command the level of influence and validity that they do.